In 1985, a diver named Henri Cosquer descended into the waters along the rocky, jagged coast west of Marseille, in southern France. As he squeezed through a narrow opening at the base of the cliffs, 37 meters below the surface, he had no idea he was about to unlock an entirely new chapter of human history. On that day, a hidden cave submerged beneath the sea, dating back thousands of years, was finally brought to light. Its walls were covered in handprints, mysterious figures, and animal paintings dating back nearly 30,000 years. But the immediate question was staggering. How could such ancient, pristine artwork end up 37 meters underwater? Even more chilling were the details. Some of the stenciled handprints had missing fingers, and several of the animals depicted on the rock were never native to that region. This discovery unveiled a profound mystery, not just about prehistoric art, but about the very memory of human existence. The Cosquer Cave was located in an environment so treacherous it posed a deadly threat even to the most experienced professional divers. After claiming the lives of several divers over the years, access to this unforgiving, narrow passage is now strictly forbidden. Yet the treasures locked inside continue to tell an unparalleled story, weaving together the remnants of the Ice Age, the dramatic shifts in global sea levels, and the brilliant creative spark of early humanity. In this video, we will explore the incredible story of the Cosquer Cave, from its discovery to the present day. We will dive into the lives of the people who walked its halls millennia ago, and uncover the ancient secrets these submerged masterpieces whisper about our shared human history. On a summer day in 1985, Henri Cosquer, a professional diver, was on a routine dive along the southern coast of France, near the limestone cliffs west of Marseille. The steep, rocky structure of the cliffs and the dark crevices lurking beneath them were areas always known to be as dangerous as they were alluring to divers. It was on this very day that Cosquer came across a narrow opening, one that looked like just another ordinary rock fissure. But as he realized this opening stretched deep into the rock, he had no idea he was standing on the threshold of a life-altering discovery. This entrance, situated nearly 37 meters below sea level, was in fact one of the most mysterious doorways in human history. Cosquer had to maneuver, almost crawling through the tight passages. Ahead of him stretched a water-filled tunnel, nearly 175 meters long. This tunnel gradually sloped upward, leading the diver toward the drier sections of the cavern. The water filled the cave only up to a certain point. Beyond that mark, as his eyes adjusted to the darkness, Cosquer began to see extraordinary marks on the stone walls. Hand-drawn figures and animal shapes had survived from 30,000 years ago, waiting in the silence. But the path to this discovery was far from easy. The sheer narrowness of the tunnel, the depth of the cave, and the unpredictable currents posed fatal risks even to the most seasoned divers. In fact, in the late 1980s and early 1990s, 3 divers, driven by curiosity to explore this very cave, lost their way in the tight passages, panicked, and tragically lost their lives, unable to return. These tragedies quickly turned the cave into a place spoken of with a mix of dread and deep respect. It took a few years for the discovery to become public knowledge. Henri Cosquer didn't announce his find immediately. It wasn't until 1991 that he officially notified the authorities, intending to verify and protect what he had witnessed inside. Soon after, archaeologists and historians began conducting systematic underwater explorations of the cave. The charcoal marks, hand stencils, and animal paintings found on the walls were subjected to carbon dating. The results were astonishing. These drawings dated back to between 27,000 and 19,000 years ago, stretching all the way back to the Upper Paleolithic era. The French government acted swiftly. A strict diving ban was imposed at the cave's entrance. Every new dive not only carried a lethal risk for the divers, but also threatened to damage the cave's incredibly fragile ecosystem. Word of the discovery rapidly spread across the global press. The Cosquer Cave was soon etched into history alongside giant sites of cave art like Lascaux and Chauvet. But what set Cosquer apart from all the others was its mysterious underwater location. Submerged by rising sea levels, it had become a time capsule, virtually hidden away for thousands of years. When archaeologists finally reached the dark galleries of the cave, the sight that unfolded before their eyes was not just a mere handful of figures. Extensive research revealed over 500 individual drawings and markings etched onto the cave walls. Among them were animal figures, geometric symbols, hand stencils, and enigmatic signs whose meanings remain unsolved even today. Undoubtedly, the most striking of these illustrations were the animal figures. The walls depicted species such as horses, bison, deer, ibex, rodents, seals, and even penguin-like creatures. But a startling detail was hidden here. Some of the animals depicted in the cave had never lived on the modern coasts of Marseille. For instance, the penguins seen in the drawings belonged to a polar climate, thousands of kilometers away from this region. This fact alone proved that when these drawings were made, the Earth was experiencing a vastly different climate. If we turn back the clock some 27,000 years, we find an Earth in the deep grip of the Ice Age. Sea levels were drastically lower than they are today. At that time, the Cosquer Cave was not underwater. It was situated nearly 10 kilometers inland, nestled high within a massive rock formation, meaning people didn't have to dive to reach the cave. On the contrary, this area was a dry, vast, and easily accessible sanctuary. Thousands of years later, as the glaciers melted and the seas rose, the cave was slowly swallowed by the water, taking on the mysterious, submerged state it is in today. So, who were these people? According to archaeologists, the individuals who used this cave were hunter-gatherer communities of the Upper Paleolithic era. They lived in small nomadic groups, using the cave both as a shelter and a kind of ritualistic sanctuary. Their daily lives relied heavily on hunting. Animals like horses, bison, and reindeer were their primary food sources. They harnessed fire, crafted stone tools, and fought against the unforgiving forces of nature to survive. But perhaps one of the most striking elements of the Cosquer Cave was the handprints. Carbon dating and meticulous examinations reveal the presence of nearly 200 hand stencils here. People placed their hands flat against the rock and blew a mixture of chewed charcoal and pigment from their mouths to leave behind their silhouettes. It was, essentially, the 30,000-year-old equivalent of saying, "I was here." Yet, for the observant eye, there was a far more chilling detail. Many of these hand stencils appeared to have missing fingers. It was as if the fingers had been amputated or deliberately mutilated. This sparked long-standing debates. Some scientists believe this was a form of symbolic sign language or a dark ritual. Others suggest a more brutal reality. These people lived in freezing climates, losing their digits to frostbite and gangrene. Meaning, these hands might not just be works of art, but rather physical evidence of the ruthless conditions of the Ice Age. The geometric symbols are even more enigmatic. The true meaning of the dots, lines, and wave-like signs remains entirely unsolved. Perhaps they were keeping a tally of a hunt, perhaps it was part of a religious rite, or perhaps it was a form of communication we simply cannot comprehend today. But one thing is certain. Every wall of this cave carries the profound echo of human intelligence and imagination from thousands of years ago. There was one distinct feature that set Cosquer apart from all other prehistoric caves: the depiction of marine life. Seals, fish, jellyfish, and penguin-like birds adorned the walls. This reveals to us that the people of that era had an intimate relationship not only with the land, but also with the sea. Perhaps they hunted along the shores, or perhaps they gathered the creatures washed up by the crashing waves. In essence, the Cosquer communities led a highly versatile lifestyle, exploiting resources from both the land and the ocean. Their concept of home was very different from our understanding of home today. For them, home was a temporary shelter offered by nature. The division of labour within the community was quite clear. While men generally focused on big game hunting, women and children gathered plants, hunted smaller animals, and prepared the food. However, the cave paintings show us that this art was not the work of a single individual, but a shared endeavour of the entire community. The drawings acted as a collective memory, the shared identity of the tribe. Upon closer inspection, symbolic meanings can be sensed in the depictions of these animals. For instance, some beasts were drawn disproportionately large and powerful. This suggests that they were symbols of strength and survival for the community. Other figures, however, were rendered with more abstract and simple lines. Perhaps these were the first drawing attempts of younger members, or perhaps they served as an educational tool for the tribe. The presence of marine animals in Cosquer carries a profoundly important message. These people were able to forge a deep connection with the sea, observe its rhythms, and integrate it into their lives. They were not just terrestrial hunters, they were early coastal communities living in harmony with the ocean. This stands as a remarkable testament to how deeply early humans observed their environment and immortalized it through art. While the discovery of the Cosquer Cave sent shockwaves of excitement through the scientific community, it also brought a deep sense of dread. The cave possessed an incredibly fragile structure. Because its entrance lay beneath the sea, even the slightest shift in water levels could obliterate the paintings inside. Furthermore, due to the extreme difficulty and lethal dangers of diving into the cavern, protecting and documenting it became the ultimate priority. Scientists turned to the latest technology to explore the cave. Using 3D laser scanning, photogrammetry, and high-resolution underwater cameras, every single centimetre of the cavern was digitized. Exact digital replicas of both the artwork and the cave structure were created. As a result, Cosquer was transformed into a legacy that could be unveiled to everyone, not just a select few divers. Visiting this unparalleled treasure in person was simply impossible. The narrow tunnels and sudden pressure changes at the entrance posed a fatal risk, even to the most professional divers. Under these circumstances, constructing a physical replica was the only viable solution. Today, a life-size, meticulously accurate replica of the Cosquer Cave is open to the public inside the Villa Méditerranée in Marseille. Here, the hundreds of drawings, hand stencils, animal figures and symbols can be witnessed exactly as they appear in the original cavern. Thanks to modern technology and virtual reality experiences, visitors don't just see the art. They feel as though they are physically wandering through the ancient cave itself. Thus, these masterpieces, stretching back tens of thousands of years, are safely passed down to future generations. Cosquer has become a monument recognized by the entire world as a shared heritage of humanity. Today, we look down upon the Cosquer Cave from above the water, guided by the light of modern technology. We cannot reach out and touch those stones, but we can still listen to what they have to say. The horses, seals, hands, and geometric lines etched onto that rock whisper to us what the people of that era truly cared about. Those ancient humans harbored emotions as complex as our own. They feared, they celebrated, and they forged meaning. Cosquer shows us the past not merely as a relic, but as a living bridge. Its preservation, the replica projects, and its scientific documentation are not just a testament to our respect for our history. They are a test of what kind of a legacy we will leave for the future. Because one day the seas will rise again, the glaciers will melt, and other fragments of human history will be buried in the deep. We have come to the end of our video. If you enjoyed this journey, please support us by hitting the like button and subscribing to our channel. Thank you for watching. Until we unlock the next mystery, goodbye.